Hi guys, welcome to Tech Skills with Philos. Today we are going to use some tool exercise to practice the topic functions and formula in Excel. Note that you can also do this in Google Sheets, or if you have WPS you can do that as well. But by then I am using Microsoft Excel. Okay. So it is important to pay attention so that you understand at least some of the things and functions and formula. Is that okay? So let's take exercise 1. Exercise 1 says, okay, so this is the question. This is what we are supposed to read first. Employees of KNUST Computer Company are paid on hourly basis at the end of the month. At the end of every month, okay. If an employee works for not more than 40 hours a month, it is considered regular, and overtime for hours worked excess of 40. So it means that at the end of the week, they will calculate the total hours you've worked within the week, okay. So all those who work 40 and below, that's regular. It's a regular time. But if you work in excess of that 40 hours, if your time, the total time it takes you to work within the entire week is more than 40 hours, then you've done something we call overtime. You've done over the time. Do you get it? Good. Now, there's a compensation for working overtime actually. Okay, then let's look at how it goes. Now, regular hours are paid 50 cedis per hour. So meaning, like, if you work 40 hours and below, for every hour that you worked, they will pay you 50 cedis. So if you work throughout the week, if you work for 20 hours throughout the week, they will do 50 cedis times 20. Then if you've worked, let's say 42 hours throughout the week, they will do 50. I'll come to that one now. Let's finish reading. While the overtime rate is 1.5 times the rate per hour. So this one here, 1.5 times the rate per hour means for regular time they are paying 50 cedis. So if you work overtime, they're over the excess of the time that you work over 40. That one, every 1 hour they are going to pay 1.5 times 50 cedis for that one. 1.5 times 50 cedis, so it's about 75 cedis. Good. Let's assume Kofi work for 42 hours. If they want to pay Kofi, what it means is that they will pay Kofi 50 cedis times the 40 hours, which is the regular. Then what is the excess? Say Kofi has worked for more than 40 hours, the excess. So the excess is going to be extra 2 hours, right? That's the overtime. So that extra 2 hours, they won't pay him 50 cedis for that extra 2 hours. No. They will pay him 75 cedis for each of the extra hours. So if he works extra 2 hours, they will pay him 75 cedis times 2. If he works extra 10 hours, okay, ahead of the 40, as in more than the 40, extra 10 hours more than the 40, they will pay him 75 cedis times that extra 10 hours, aside his 40 hours times 50. You get it? Good. Now, all employees are to pay 15% of their gross pay as income tax, 2.5% as national insurance levy, 1% as district tax. Employees who have more than 3 children are to pay 1 CD per child. So, all those who have more than 3 children, they will pay 1 CD on top of the head of every excess child of 3. As in, let's say, Abena has given birth to, let's say, 5 kids, okay. So what it means is that for the first 3 kids, she won't pay anything. But for giving birth to extra, as in more than 3, she will pay 1 CD on top of the head of the extra 3 children she has given birth to. You see that? Into Get Fund. You see. Now assume you have just been employed by the company, by the above company, that you have been given a spreadsheet below to complete. What formulas will be entered, blah 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 blah. Something like that. So you can just read it or take a screenshot. So basically, now let's look at this. Now you just enter all these values in your Excel. Okay, take your Excel. You see, in cell B2 I've entered J, B, P, and something like that. Then cell B4 you enter this value also, staff salaries for March 2000. Then cell A6, that's where I've written staff, B6 hours worked, C6 number of children, like that. So you enter all these values. Okay, you can pause after this lesson, after this class. If you are rewatching the recorded video after this class, if you are rewatching the video, you can pause it and take your time and enter the values in the Excel sheet. Is that okay? Or anytime you can do that. Now you can enter these values so that you can also follow, do similar thing. You get it? So let's see how to find a gross pay for John, and we'll later find it for the others as well. If you're able to find a gross pay for John, then getting the others will not be difficult. If you're able to enter the correct formula to find a gross pay for John, getting the others will not be difficult. And remember, we have to enter the formula in a manner that we can easily copy the formula for the others and it will work. And then when you observe this place, income tax, actually the income tax rate given in the question is not what, okay, that's a 15%. Convert it to decimals, it's going to be 15% means 15 over 100, that's 0.15. I think the let me see, okay, 2.5 for national health insurance, but here we have 0.01, but that's what the question actually gives us in the data. So you overlook the one in the explanation, in the listing here, in the notes here, and then focus on using the one given in the main spreadsheet. Is that okay? So let's see how to find the gross pay. Now, to find the gross pay, this is what we are going to do. Now, you see, in this case, no, there's a criteria that those who work more than 40 hours should get some extra pay for that situation. So, it won't be direct. Admitting that we are paying them 40 cedis, the 50 cedis per hour, without, there's nothing like excess overtime or something. We would have just done 50 cedis times the total hours that you've worked, right? That's what we're just doing, that's all. But here's the case that only those who work up to 40 hours is only taking 50 cedis, and those who work excess of 40 hours, everyone now will be what? 50 times 1.5. So in that case, we need to use the if function so that the formula can be complete. So to use the if function, we just say equals. Please be looking into the formula bar so that you can see how the formula goes. Is that okay? So we enter if, okay, then we open bracket. Now the first thing we are going to do is to enter a logical test. What do I mean by a logical test? Now we are going to tell Excel that Excel, go and check the total hours worked by John. Okay, so we'll click on John total hours worked, which is B7. Now we'll tell Excel to go and check it if it is less than or equal to 40. Where do you get a less than? You look at your keyboard, you will see the key, there's a less than key on it. Less than and greater than. If you click on the less than, it might not come directly. So you have to click on the shift key. You have to hold on the shift key and click it for it to come. And then the equal to sign. The equal to sign is also beside the backspace. So you just click on it, you get the equal to. So less than or equal to 40. So we are telling Excel that Excel, please go and check if John's. We are assuming we don't know what John's total hours work. Okay, we are taking it as B7, cell B7. So we are telling Excel to go and check if cell B7 is actually less than or equal to 40. Now that's a logical test. Now if it is, what should happen if it is? And what should happen if it is not? Like, do this for me. If you do it, this is what will happen. If you don't, this is what will happen. Do you get it? So we are telling you to check if cell B7 is actually less than or equal to 40. If it is, no, that is value if true. If it is, what should happen? So if it is actually less than or equal to 40, then we will tell Excel that then if it is actually less than or equal to 40, then multiply that value by 50. Multiply that value, the total hours worked by that person, by what? By 50. If it is true, and part that it's actually less than or equal to 40. You get it? Else, that is, if it is not true, if it is actually not less than or equal to 40, if it is not, that is, if it's more than 40, then this is what Excel should do. Excel should take the first regular time, okay, and multiply it by the regular rate of 50, then plus, we can actually, so plus, okay, plus then we find the excess time that you've worked. To get the excess time that you've worked, we open bracket, the excess time you work should be the time it takes you to work minus the regular time. It will give you the excess. Say you are only regular time you are supposed to work is 40 hours. So the excess is supposed to be the total hours you worked, which is B7, joiner's work, minus the maximum regular time, which is the 40. That will give you the excess. So we take the excess times what? Now, what is the overtime rate? The overtime rate is supposed to be the regular rate times 1.5, 1.5. You remember that, right? Good. So this is simple. You see this whole part from this 40 here to this part is the calculation for the amount. Observe closely. This first part here is the calculation for the amount those who work less than or equal to 40 will take. That's the calculation for them. Then this second calculation here, the 40 times 50 plus B7 minus 40 times 50 times 1.5, the whole of this calculation is for those who work for more than 4 hours. 40 hours, sorry. So basically we are telling Excel to check if cell B7 is less than or equal to 40. Then if you just take B7 and multiply by 50, that's for those that they meet the criteria, the logical test that their hours is less than or equal to 40. But if it is not, that is if they fail, like if not necessarily failure, but if they do not work less than or equal to 40, that's if their time is more than 40, then this is the calculation that should be done, this second one. That is, you should take their what is supposed to be their regular time, which is 40, and multiply by 50. After that, then you should take the excess and multiply it by 50 times 1.5. Okay, 1.5. Just as I explained to you, like I'm at work for 42 hours. Say, if I'm at work for 42 hours, you first multiply the first 40 hours, which is the regular time, by the regular rate of 50. Is that not what we will do for AMA? Then the excess will be the 42, which is the B7, minus 40. That will give you 2. Then we multiply by 50 by 1.5. You get it, 1.5. I hope you get it. Good. So we close bracket. After closing bracket, then please observe closely. We'll close the bracket. You need to close it because you open it from the beginning. Then you click on the enter key. So we are going to get the gross pay for John. Okay, so this is the gross pay for John, 3,875. Is that okay? But by then, we can actually copy this formula for the others. Okay, now one way we can copy this formula for the others, observe something. You see that you have B7 inside this one. If I use Ctrl C to copy this, and I come here and then use Ctrl V to paste, you see that this one gives me 2,600. Look inside the formula, but you see that it has changed to B8, meaning it's using Rose's hours work. Say the hours that Rose work is in cell B8. You see that, so it has changed to B8. That's relative referencing from B7 to B8. But we mostly don't do that, okay? It's time consuming. So you can actually do it this way. You come to the first one that you've done, then you come to the edge here. You see that initially the plus is white. Have you seen that the plus is white? Good. Now when you come to the edge, bottom right corner here, the edge here, okay, then you left click, hold and drag to the last. The last will be Charles, right? You see that it will do it for the others. Have you seen that it has been done for the others? Have you seen that? So the calculation has been done for the others. But this way too, sometimes it can be stressful, especially if it's very lengthy. So this is another way to do it. Let me undo this one, Ctrl Z. Another way to do it is to come to the same edge I was showing you, this edge, this bottom left corner. Then you double left click on it. You left click, but it will be doubled. You double left click on it. As soon as I double left click on it, you see that it has been copied. The formula has been copied to the other parts. You see that? Interesting, right? Good. So let's look at the next one, which is income tax. Now let's see how to calculate the income tax. Now for the income tax, it's simple. It's just like when you earn, let's say you earn 8,000 cedis at the end of the month, and you decide to give 10% tithe to God. You get it? How do you calculate that 10 percentile? 10%, 10 over 100 in decimal, 10% in decimal is going to give you 0.1, right? So just do 0.1 times the amount you've earned. Say you earn 8k, 8,000 Ghana cedis. So 0.1 times 8,000 is going to give you what? 800 cedis. So meaning you are giving 800 cedis to God out of your 8,000 Ghana cedis. You get it? So income tax also, we are going to use the same thing. We are going to do the income tax rate. Okay, we multiply the income tax rate by the gross pay. But how do we do that? Now, observe something. Please remember, we have to enter the formula in a manner that when we copy to the others, it will work. Now, see something. So we said it should be your gross pay times, okay, times the income tax rate. So we come and click on the income tax rate. You see that? So income tax rate is at cell I2. Now, when I hit on enter key, you guys should observe something. When I click on this back, you remember I already taught you how to copy the formula for the others. We use autofill. We come to the bottom left corner here. This bottom left corner here. Am I saying bottom right corner, right? This edge. Then you double left click on it to get the rest. You see that? But look at what is happening. One is saying value, no value, others are giving 0. Let's see what happened to them. You see, this one, you remember that every person's gross pay should be times the income tax rate, is that not it? Now look at John. John's gross pay is at D7. Then income tax rate is at I2, right? So John's calculation is correct. Now look at Rose's calculation. Rose's calculation, according to Rose's calculation, say it's supposed to be Rose's gross pay, which is at D8. So that part is correct. But it should be times I2. This is, the income tax rate is actually at I2. It shouldn't be times I3. That's why this calculation here is wrong. Okay. Then when you look at this place, D9, as per the D9, they are supposed to move. Say, AQS of gross pay is at D9. But we are multiplying it by income tax rate, not any other thing. And it is referencing I4. I4 is actually NHIL rate, not income tax rate. It's supposed to keep, all of them are supposed to reference the same income tax rate under the income tax calculation. All of them. Ekia or Peter or Ibrahim or Isaac or Cynthia or James, Kweku, George, Michael, Emmanuel, Stephen, Alfred, all of them are supposed to be referencing the same income tax rate. But here lies the case that they are all referencing different cells. Look at Isaac is referencing I7. In fact, there's nothing in I7 in Pope. You see that? There's nothing in I7. This one is referencing I6. I6 is net pay that's there. So all these calculations are wrong. So that means that if you want all of them to reference the same income tax rate, you see, it's a single value, a single point. If you want all of them to reference the same value, you are supposed to lock it. You are supposed to make it absolute. So let's see how to make it absolute. So let me undo this. So we'll come back to this. Let me clear this. Now to lock it, it's simple. Just come and click on the income tax rate. Then you edit it. You bring $sign before the I. To get a dollar, dollar is on 4. Where 4 is on your keyboard, dollar is on it. So when you use the shift key together with it, you get a $sign. You bring dollar before the I, and then you bring dollar after the I, that is before the 2. You see, when you do that, when you bring dollar before the I and dollar before the 2, we've locked it. I hope you guys are following. If you are following, right, clack it in the comment room, right? Clack it in the comment room. I want to see that. Yeah. So when you bring the $sign before the I and then a $sign before the 2, you've locked it. You are basically locking it such that when you copy the formula to the others, the I2 will apply to all of them. That's the meaning of the absolute thing. You get it? So let me hit on enter. Now observe something. Let me copy the formula for the others by coming to the edge here, and then I'll double left click. You see that this time when the calculations are well done. Let's check what's happening. On this first one, we have D7 times what? I2. You see that I2 looks locked, right? Then let's go to this. So this way we have D8, which is right, times, you see that the I2 didn't change to I3. It's because it was locked. It didn't change to I3. It remains the same I2 that we were referring to over here, the same income tax. So you see that it's been locked. It didn't change. When you go to a QS1 also, you see D9 times, it remains the same I2. It's been locked. When you go to the other person, same thing. When you go, same thing. And listen, only the gross pay is changing relative to the person. That's why we call it relative referencing. It relates to who you are dealing with. Okay. But the I2, the income tax rate is not changing. It is constant. It is fixed. So that's absolute. You see that? You see. So it remains I2 throughout. Only the D's are changing depending on the person you are calculating. You see that? Now, let me undo. I wanted to show you something also. But before I show you that, I have to undo. Let me clear. Now, let's say D7, then I click on I2. Now, sometimes, not even sometimes, we, those of us who are used to this thing, we don't type, like, if you want to lock it, okay, like I said, you should lock it by bringing dollar before the I and dollar before the 2. If you want to lock it, you don't necessarily have to go and be typing dollar sign. We actually have a shortcut for doing the locking. Okay, let me do it for you to see. So, we'll click on this once. After clicking on it, then check on your keyboard. You will see F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, up to F12 on your keyboard, especially at the top. The first row of your keyboard is mostly around that side. Okay, F1, F2, F3 going. So we are just going to click on F4, the F4. So we click on F4. As soon as you click on F4, forget, it will lock it for you. Once, you don't need to type the dollar sign yourself. Okay, please try it. Let me do it again. I just click on the income tax rate, then I click on F4 key. Once, that's all. It lock it for us automatically. You get it? If you are following or you are getting it, right, click it in the comment row. Okay, you lock it, then we click it. Is that okay? Yeah. So we hit on the enter key, we still get the same amount. 581 cedis, 25 pesos. That's what John will be paying as income tax. So let's copy the formula for the others. So we come to the bottom left corner here. Remember I told you that you can hold and drag, you see, or you can just come to the bottom right corner here, the edge, it will change to black. Then you double click on it to get the rest. You see that? Good. Then let's go to the NHI also. Now, we are basically coming to do similar thing for the NHI. To calculate the amount that goes into NHI, it's simple. We'll just click on the gross pay. Okay, we'll multiply the gross pay by the NHI rate. Is that okay? So we'll do times. Then we click on the NHI rate. The rate for the NHI 0.01. So we click on it. But we need to lock this one also so that we can clock it. You get it? We need to lock this also. So how do we lock this? Remember I showed you the shortcut. You can actually manually type in the dollar sign before the I and the dollar sign before the for yourself. But by then, I taught you that you can actually click on the F4 key to lock it. Simple. So D7 times $I $4. You get it? So we hit on the enter key. So we can copy this formula for the others. Remember I told you that you just come to the edge here, the bottom right corner here. Then you left click, but you hold it down. Okay, you click on it. You will not j your finger. Okay, then you drag it down to the last. The formula will copy for the others. You see, or if dragging will cause confusion, after you are done with the first one, just come to the bottom, like left corner here, right corner here. Okay, the edge here. Okay, just come there. You see that initially was white with black border. You see, the pointer was looking white, but as soon as I come to the edge here, it has changed to black, right? So we double click it, we double left click it. Is that okay? We double left click it. So when you double left click it, it will follow the others, isn't it? Good. Then let's go to district tax. We are basically coming to do similar thing for the district tax. To do that, we click on the gross pay. Okay. Then we do times. Then what is the district tax rate? The district tax rate is this, but we need to lock it also by clicking F4. Okay, So when we lock this by clicking F4, then we just hit on the enter key, we'll get the answer for that one too. Are you following? Then we come to the bottom, is it left or right? Sorry, right corner. Just as we do for the others, we copy the formula for the others. You see that? So we double click to fill in the rest. So it will automatically fill in the same formula for the others. Have you seen that? Have you seen that? Have you seen that? Good. Let's come to the get fund. Now remember that the get fund, they said if you have more than 3 children, you are going to be paying 1 cedi on top of the excess, as in the excess ones, more than 3. Do you get it? Now let's see how to do this. If you are coming to do this, we have to also use the if function to set condition that if this is this, this is what should happen, and then if this is this, this is what should happen. Now let's see how to do that. Now to do that, we enter the equal to right, then we enter if. Okay, if we type if, then we open bracket. Now let's enter our logical test. Now we are going to tell Excel that, oh Charlie, go and check the number of children John has. So how do we tell it to go and check the number of children John has? It's by clicking on the number of children John has. Is that okay? C7, you get it? So we tell it that go and check the number of children John has and check if they are greater than 3, or if it's greater than 3. Go and check the number of children John has. Check if it's greater than 3. Okay. Now, that is the logical test. We call it logical test. By you telling, just by you telling Excel to go and check if this is greater than 3. Okay, that's the logical test. Now, then you tell Excel what should happen if it is true. That is, if it's actually greater than 3 and what should happen? So if it's actually greater than 3, it should find the excess. How do we find the excess? Let's open bracket and do C7. Okay, so the same cell C7 minus 3. That will give us the excess we are looking for. You know, the maximum number of child you can have not to be charged is 3. So to know the excess, excess is supposed to be the number of child that you have minus 3. That's supposed to be the excess. Is that not it? Good. Now, the excess should be multiplied by what? By 1 cedi. Okay. So if you have 6 children, 6 minus 3 times 1 cedi. They will multiply the excess children by 1 cedi. So one person will pay 1 cedi each. You get it? But if it is not true, okay, that is, if cell C7 is not greater than 3, then charge the person 0. Please, this is it. This is the logical test. You should check if cell C7 is greater than 3. And if it is true that cell C7 is greater than 3, what should happen? It should multiply the excess because it is greater than 3. If it is true that it's greater than 3, it should multiply the excess by 1. But if it is not true, that is, if it is not greater than 3, if this is not true, that's if it's not greater than 3, then you should charge the person 0 cedis. That's the meaning of the 0 there. So we close the bracket. So basically, this 0 cedis stands for those who do not have more than 3 children. Those who do not have more than 3 children. Then this C7 minus 3 times 1 is a calculation for those who have more than 3 children. So if you have more than 3, you will find the excess and multiply it by 1. You get it? So we hit on the enter key. So you see that John is paying 0. Why is John actually paying 0? If you observe the number of children John is having, it's actually 3. He won't pay. It's only those who have more than 3 children who are paying. So let's copy the formula for the others. So just come to the bottom right corner here, then you double left click on it to get the rest. So if you observe, Ibrahim has 10 children. So meaning the first 3 children is not paying anything, and then the excess 7 children is having, he's paying 1 cedi times 7, so he's going to pay 7 cedi on top of all the 7 excess. Then Peter has 5 children, so he has 2 excess child. So 2 times 1 cedi will give you 2. You see that? If it were to be 2 cedis, they are supposed to pay not 1 cedi. You would have multiplied the C7 minus 3 by 2. Or if they say you should pay 100 cedis, you would have multiplied for every child. It would have been a C7 minus 3 times 100 cedis. Do you get it? But this one is 1 cedi. That's why we multiply by 1. I hope you get it. Good. Then, this is understandable actually. Then we find the net pay. Net pay is basically the amount you take home. Just as those who do economics or finance, you say disposable income. The amount you have, the amount disposed to you, the amount you have after they deducted tax from it. You get it? This is your actual pay, your gross pay, what you receive and kasa. But after the government or whatever or whoever has deducted tax and all that from it, okay, the remainder that you take home, disposable income, that's the net pay. So to find the net pay, we just say equals. Then we click on the gross pay. Okay, the gross pay minus. Let me even shift this thing. Sorry. Let me clear this one first. Let me shift this small. Good. So we say equals. Then we click on the gross pay minus the income tax that they are coming to J from you, to deduct from you. Do you get it? Then minus the NHRO tax you are also paying, minus again the district tax you are paying, minus the VAT fund you are paying. So basically we will deduct all these, okay, all these things all these taxes from your gross pay. So your gross pay minus each of these taxes. You get it? That's what we've done to get the net pay. So we just click on the enter. So this will be the net pay for John. So let's copy the formula for the others. So we come to the bottom right corner here, the edge here. Is that okay? This corner. Then we double left click on it to get the rest. So we have the net pay for the other employees. Who's actually getting the lowest net pay? I think that is Isaac. He worked only 12 hours. That's why. See. So he's getting the lowest net pay. Well, who is getting the highest actually? If you observe, I think who is that? I think it's George. Yeah, George is getting the highest. No, not George. Why? We have Charles. Yeah, Charles is getting the highest. Yeah, Charles is getting the highest, followed by Ibrahim. Hey, then Ibrahim Kwan knows he has plenty children, so he's working hard, Papa. He has worked for 80 hours. Okay, Charles worked for 81 hours. I think. Yeah, Charles worked for 81 hours. Yeah, that's cool. So let's find the total. To get the total, basically we want to know the total for each, as in the total hours worked by all the employees, the total number of children by all the employees, the total number of, do you get it? So to find the total for the hours worked, it's simple. We will just do equals, then we enter sum, then we open bracket. Now when you open bracket, you come and click on the first one. Is that okay? The first one. Then you left click, hold and drag up to the last. That's up to Charles. So you see that it will automatically write the B7. The column, you see this column we have here, we call it 2, TO2. Do you get it? 37 to Labad, you get it? So B7 to B21. So we close the bracket and hit on enter to give us the total hours worked by all the employees sum put together. Another way you can do it is, in case you don't know how to drag, just type it. Okay, we already know that this is the first one. Okay, B7, you can see B7 is the first one. So you type B7, then you do colon to get a 2. You see that? Then B21. Okay, when will you get the colon? If you check your keyboard, you see some key that you have colon and semicolon on it. If you click on that key, I think semicolon will come. Okay, so but if you want colon, you hold on the shift key before clicking on it. The colon will come. Check your keyboard, you will see a key. Colon and semicolon are on it. If you click it just roll like that, semicolon will come. But if you want colon itself, you have to hold on the shift key before clicking that key. You get a colon. Is that okay? So we have some B7 to B21. So we close the bracket. In fact, the part we are summing has been highlighted by a blue line. Have you seen that? It's been highlighted. Good. So we hit on the enter key. When we do that, we get a total hours worked by all the employees put together. Now, do you know that the same formula will apply to the others? We will sum C7 to C21, D7 to D21, E7 to E21, F7 to F21, G7 to G21, H7 to H21, I7 to I21. That's what we are going to be doing. But instead of you entering them one after the other, you can actually fill in. You can actually use autofill. You can fill the other formulas. You can fill it from this formula. Okay, this is B7 to B21. So let's come to the bottom right corner here, the edge here. Left click on it, hold and drag it to the last. You see, let's click on each of them to see the formula that was used. For this one, B7 to B21. When we copy this formula to this one, you see that I changed to C7 to C21. That's actually what we wanted. C7 to C21. Give us the total, meaning all the employees put together, they have 62 children. Then D7 to D21, you see that E7 to E21, F7 to F21, G7 to G21, H7 to H21. Have you seen that? I7 to I21. Interesting, right? Good. So I think that's the end of exercise 1. So we have to go to exercise 2. You see that? Interesting, right? Good. So you know what? I want to take like 8 to 10 minutes break. Then we'll continue the exercise 2 in the next session. So the link to the next session has been displayed. You can see it right now. It's on the screen of this current video. Okay. The link to the next session is on the screen. You can also check the description area or the comment section for the link to the next session. So I don't want to hear that you can't find the next session or something. The link is on the screen right now. So just click on it. Then when we start the next session, you will automatically follow. Is that okay? Yeah. So in the next session, we'll look at exercise 2. I want to take some rest. Okay. For some 8 to 10 minutes. Is that okay? So in the next 10 minutes, we are starting the second session. Thank you, and then see you in the next session.